Today I'd like to begin with a discussion about GE, or otherwise known as General Electric. Appliances, electric light bulbs, wind turbines, locomotives, financial services, CAT scanners, health information systems, and up until recently, movies and television production. These are just some of the businesses that General Electric is involved in. Why? Why this portfolio of businesses? Why hold many different businesses that are in many very diverse industries? This is a question of firm scope. Now, when we talk about firm scope today, we're going to be referring to not only the scope of business within an industry, but how it occupies multiple industries and multiple positions across those industries. And we'll think about also how they govern their operations in those multiple industries. Within the field of strategy, this is often called the topic of corporate strategy. We make a distinction between corporate strategy and business strategy. Business strategy being really what we've talked about to date. How do you position yourself and compete within an individual business? Within large diversified companies, what you'll observe are multiple SBUs or strategic business units. And the hope is that the corporation, by putting these SBUs or business units together in one entity, that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So the scope question is ultimately a question about diversification. How can we understand why a firm should hold multiple positions across multiple industries? And ultimately, and I will argue, that you should only do so if it creates value in some way above and beyond your position in each of those businesses individually. There are going to be both pros and cons to diversification, which I'm going to discuss today, and ultimately we're trying to balance between those benefits and costs to determine the proper level of diversification in a firm. So first, let me just provide some typology here when we use this term diversification. One can think of low diversification versus high diversification. In the extreme form, we have firms who are simply in a single line of business. One looks at even a large firm like Coca-Cola. While there are some businesses that they are in beyond their core business, by and large, the vast majority of their business is in the drink arena, and specifically the soft drink arena. Compare or contrast that with Pepsi. Pepsi still has a dominant business in drinks and soft drinks, but it also owns Frito-Lay and a number of other food products that diversify its holdings. So while it still might have a dominant business, it is more diversified than a Coca-Cola. As we go to the other end of the continuum, we clearly have businesses like General Electric that hold multiple businesses and are highly diversified. When we think about these types of firms, we'd like to distinguish between those that hold a set of related businesses with one another versus those that are unrelated with one another. So examples of related businesses from diversified firms might be someone like Sony. So Sony has any number of different markets it participates in, including personal computers, consumer electronics of many different forms, televisions, DVD players, it even has game players and the like. So while they are diversified in a number of different industries, there is always a common value that they share in terms of technology, in terms of their underlying structure, that we would say they are a related diversified firm. Compare that once again to General Electric, where the diversity of the industry is so high that it would be arguably these businesses are unrelated to one another. At least it's hard to see how they're connected. We sometimes refer to unrelated diversification as a conglomerate. This was a form of organization that was very popular in the 1970s, where we saw the rise of a large number of these types of conglomerates, but has fallen into disfavor these days, with General Electric maybe perhaps being the exception that proves the rule about conglomerates.